The desperate call the twin sons of Kelthani Prime painted the crystal towers in shades of amber and gold as another peaceful day began. Sareth stood on the observation platform of the central governance spire, watching his people move through the floating gardens below. The Kelthani were a species that had achieved harmony with their world over thousands of years. Their slender forms moved gracefully through the morning air, their silver skin reflecting the sunlight like living mirrors. They were scholars, artists, and philosophers who had long ago abandoned primitive concepts of warfare and conflict. Sareth felt a deep pride watching them. The Kelthani had contributed greatly to galactic civilization. Their mathematical theories had revolutionized space travel. Their music brought peace to troubled minds across 100 worlds. Their agricultural techniques had ended famine on 17 colony planets. They had built a society based on knowledge, beauty, and cooperation. The emergency alert shattered his peaceful thoughts like breaking glass. The communication crystal on his wrist pulsed with urgent red light. Sareth touched it quickly, and the worried face of his security coordinator Velnus appeared in the holographic display. Governance Leader Sareth, we have detected multiple ships entering our system. The vessels match Vorath Empire military signatures. Velnus spoke quickly, his usually calm voice tight with fear. Our long-range sensors count at least 60 warships. They are not responding to our greeting transmissions. Sareth felt his heart beat faster. The Vorath Empire was known throughout the galaxy as a conquering force. They were a coalition of aggressive species who believed that strength determined rights. They had consumed dozens of peaceful civilizations over the past century, enslaving populations and stripping worlds of resources. The Kelthani had always hoped their remote location and lack of strategic value would keep them safe from Vorath attention. But how long until they reach our world? Sareth asked, already knowing the answer would not be good. 18 hours at their current speed, Velnus replied. They are moving in attack formation. This is not a diplomatic mission. Sareth closed his eyes for a moment, trying to calm his racing thoughts. Summon the Governance Council immediately. We must decide how to respond. The council chamber filled quickly. 23 Kelthani leaders gathered around the circular platform, their faces showing various degrees of shock and fear. They had governed their world for 300 years without ever facing a military threat. Now they had less than a day to save their entire civilization. We must contact the Galactic Defense Alliance, suggested Council Member Thera. We have been members for 2 centuries. They are obligated to defend us. Sareth had already considered this option. I have sent emergency requests to every Alliance member within communication range. The responses are beginning to arrive. A technician activated the main display screen. Messages from various Alliance worlds appeared one after another. Sareth read them aloud, his voice growing heavier with each one. The Centauri Federation expresses deep sympathy but cannot commit forces due to internal restructuring. The Andromedan Collective regrets that their fleet is currently engaged in defensive exercises on the far side of their territory. The Triangulum Council offers thoughts of peace but explains their military resources are insufficient for intervention. The list continued. 15 different civilizations, all members of the Alliance, all refusing to help. Council Member Joreth stood up, his silver skin darkening with anger. They are cowards. All of them. They hide behind diplomatic language, but the truth is simple. They will not risk conflict with the Vorath Empire to save us. What about hiring mercenaries? Suggested another council member. Surely there are military forces available for contract. With what payment? Thera responded. The Vorath will be here in 18 hours. No mercenary force could possibly arrive in time, even if we could afford them. The council chamber fell into desperate silence. The Kelthani had no weapons, no soldiers, no defenses. Their world was protected only by treaties and agreements that meant nothing when faced with an empire that respected only force. Seraph looked at his fellow leaders and saw the same realization in their eyes. They were going to die. Their beautiful civilization, their art and music and knowledge, would all be destroyed or enslaved. Their children would grow up as servants to Vorath masters. If they were allowed to grow up at all, send one final distress call, Seraph said quietly. Broadcast it on all frequencies to every system within range. Tell them what is happening here. Perhaps someone will remember us and what the galaxy allowed to occur. The distress signal went out into the void of space, carrying the desperate plea of a dying civilization. It reached the stations of 100 worlds. Most deleted it without reading. A few forwarded it to their governments, who filed it away in databases that no one would ever check. The signal traveled further and further from Calthani Prime, growing weaker as it moved through the empty spaces between stars. Then, after 7 hours of silence, a response came back. Seraph was trying to organize the evacuation of children to the underground shelters when Wellness called him again. The security coordinator looked confused rather than afraid this time. Governance leader, we have received a response to our distress signal. The message is very short and comes from a region the computer identifies as human space. Seraph felt a chill despite the warm air of the control center. Humans. Everyone in the galaxy had heard of humans, though few had met them personally. They came from the Outer Rim territories, from a world that galactic surveys had classified as a death planet. Stories about humans spread through civilized space, like whispers of monsters in the dark. What does the message say? Sareth asked. Wellness displayed it on the main screen. The text was brief and written in standard galactic trade language. Message received. We are coming. Hold on. Fleet departing immediately. Estimated arrival in 16 hours. Sareth stared at the message, trying to understand. The humans were coming. But why? What did they want? Were they coming to help or to take advantage of the situation? He called an emergency council session. The members gathered again, this time with even more confusion than fear on their faces. What do we know about humans? Sareth asked his council member Thera, activated her data tablet. Very little reliable information exists. Humans made first contact with galactic civilization approximately 40 years ago. They come from a world designated Earth, located in what we call the Outer Rim territories. Their planet is classified as a Class 12 death world. What does that mean? Asked another council member. Thera's skin paled slightly as she read from her files. A Class 12 death world is a planet so hostile that sentient life should not be able to evolve there. Earth has crushing gravity levels that would break the bones of most species. The atmosphere contains dangerously high oxygen content. Massive storms regularly devastate the surface. The planet is filled with aggressive predator species. Even the microscopic organisms are often deadly to visitors. And humans evolved on this world? Joreth asked in disbelief. Apparently so, Thera continued. Reports suggest humans are extremely durable and aggressive. Their culture is built around concepts of competition and conflict. They have extensive experience with warfare. Some traders claim that humans actually enjoy fighting. The council members looked at each other with growing concern. Sareth understood their worry. The Calthani were about to be caught between two dangerous forces. The Vorath Empire wanted to conquer their world. The humans were coming for unknown reasons. Perhaps humanity saw an opportunity to claim Calthani Prime for themselves, while the Vorath were distracted. Asterisk? Do we have any choice? Sareth asked the council. The Vorath arrive in 11 hours. The humans arrive in 16. Perhaps the humans will at least delay the Vorath long enough for some of our people to escape. We should prepare our people for the worst, Thera said sadly. Whether we fall to the Voroth or to the humans, our civilization as we know it will end today. Sareth authorized the announcement. Across Kelthani Prime, in every city and settlement, the news spread quickly. The Voroth were coming to conquer them. The humans were coming for unknown purposes. The Galactic Alliance had abandoned them. Parents held their children close. Artists worked frantically to preserve their final creations. Scholars uploaded their research to distant data archives, hoping some fragment of Kelthani knowledge would survive. Asterisk. In the command center of the Voroth flagship Dominator's Pride, Supreme Commander Zarak received the intelligence reports with amusement. The massive reptilian warrior stood over his tactical displays, his scarred face twisted into what passed for a smile among his species. The Kelthani have called for help, his intelligence officer reported. They received no response from Alliance members. However, a human fleet has departed human space and is traveling toward this system. Zarak's smile widened, showing rows of sharp teeth. Humans. I have heard of these Deathworlders. They think their savage nature makes them dangerous. How many ships are they sending? Scans suggest approximately 25 vessels, the officer replied. Most appear to be converted civilian craft with added weapon systems. No capital ships or heavy cruisers detected. Zarak laughed, a sound like grinding rocks. 25 converted cargo haulers against 60 Voroth warships. These humans are either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. Either way, they will die quickly. His second-in-command Kelver was more cautious. Supreme Commander, human capabilities are largely unknown. Some reports suggest they are formidable opponents, despite their primitive technology not formidable. Zarak turned to face his second. They live on a dangerous world, so they think they are warriors. But surviving against wild animals is not the same as facing disciplined military forces. The humans will learn this lesson shortly before we destroy them. What are your orders regarding the human fleet? Kelver asked. We will proceed with the conquest of Kelthani Prime as planned. When the humans arrive, we will show the galaxy what happens when Deathworld savages interfere with the Voroth Empire. Their burning ships will serve as a warning to others. The Voroth fleet continued toward Kelthani Prime, confident in their overwhelming superiority. Zarak had conquered 17 worlds during his military career. He had faced desperate defenders, cunning tacticians, and even a few species with advanced technology. None had survived. The Kelthani would fall like all the others, and the humans would simply provide an entertaining diversion before they too were destroyed. On Kelthani Prime, Sareth stood on the observation platform watching the stars. Somewhere out there, 2 fleets were racing toward his world. One carried certain destruction. The other carried unknown intentions. His people had done nothing to deserve this fate except be weak and peaceful in a galaxy where strength determined survival. Velnus approached him quietly. Governance leader, our long-range sensors have detected the human fleet. They are maintaining their estimated arrival time. Sareth nodded slowly. Send them a message. Thank them for responding to our distress call. Ask them what they want in return for their assistance. The message went out. The response came back within minutes. Again, it was brief and direct. We want nothing except for you to survive. Humans do not abandon those who call for help. Hold your position. We are almost there. Sareth read the message 3 times, trying to understand. The humans wanted nothing? They were coming simply to help? It seemed impossible. Everyone in the galaxy acted from self-interest. Everyone wanted payment or advantage or territory. But the message was clear. The humans were coming, and they claimed to be coming as allies rather than as conquerors. Sareth did not know whether to feel hope or greater fear. The Deathworlders were coming. In less than 16 hours, his world would become a battlefield between the Voroth Empire and the humans from the Death World called Earth. All he could do now was wait and pray that his people would survive what was coming. The twin suns set over Calthani Prime, painting the crystal towers in shades of red and purple. It might be the last sunset his civilization would ever see. Or perhaps, against all probability, it might be the sunset before a new dawn. The humans were coming, and nothing would ever be the same again. Asterisk fire meets steel. The human fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Calthani system like ghosts materializing from darkness. Commander Elena Reeves stood on the bridge of the lead vessel, the CSV Defiant, watching the tactical displays update with new information. 23 ships had made the journey from human space, pushing their engines beyond safe limits to arrive in time. They were not the sleek warships of advanced civilizations. They were converted colony transports, refitted cargo haulers, and mining vessels equipped with whatever weapons humanity could bolt on to their hulls. Status report. Elena called out to her crew. The bridge was cramped and functional, with exposed pipes and jury-rigged systems that would horrify most galactic engineers. But it worked, and that was all that mattered. Long-range sensors show 60 Vorith vessels in orbital positions around Calthani Prime, reported her tactical officer Marcus Chun. They have established a blockade pattern. The planet is completely surrounded. We are detecting active weapon systems and shield generators on all enemy ships. Time until they detect us? Elena asked. Already detected, Commander. The Vorith flagship is hailing us. Put them through. The main screen activated, showing the scarred face of Supreme Commander Zarek. The massive reptilian creature looked at Elena with obvious contempt. His eyes moved across the human bridge, taking in the rough construction and improvised systems. Human Commander. Zarek spoke in heavily accented standard galactic language. You have made a foolish mistake coming here. This world belongs to the Vorith Empire now. Leave immediately or share the fate of the Calthani. Elena smiled, but there was no warmth in the expression. Her gray eyes were cold as winter steel. Commander Zarek. I am Commander Elena Reeves of the Colonial Space Volunteers. We received a distress call from the Calthani people. We are here to ensure their continued independence. Zarek laughed, the sound echoing across the communication channel. You have 23 primitive vessels against 60 Vorith warships. Your technology is inferior. Your ships are barely functional. What do you think you can accomplish here except dying uselessly? Elena leaned forward slightly. Let me tell you something about humans, Commander. We come from a world that tries to kill us every single day. We evolved fighting predators that could tear us apart. We survived ice ages, plagues, and natural disasters that would have destroyed weaker species. We learned a long time ago that survival is not about having the best weapons or the biggest ships. It is about never giving up and always finding a way to win. Brave words from a dead woman, Zarek replied. You have 1 hour to leave this system. After that, we will destroy your fleet and use your wreckage to decorate our victory. The communication ended. Elena turned to her crew, her expression shifting from cold determination to calculated strategy. All ships, battle stations. Marcus, send the Calthani our tactical plan. I want their defense platforms coordinated with our movements. Communications relay to all vessels. We are implementing Protocol Gamma 7. Her crew moved with practiced efficiency. They had trained together for situations exactly like this. Humans had learned over thousands of years that preparation and adaptation were the keys to survival against superior forces. On Calthani Prime, Sereth watched the orbital displays with growing confusion and hope. The human ships were moving into position, but not in any formation he recognized from military databases. Instead of forming defensive lines or attack wedges, they were spreading out in seemingly random patterns around the planet. What are they doing? Council member Thera asked, staring at the tactical display. Velnus was tracking the human movements carefully. I cannot identify their formation pattern. It does not match any known military doctrine. Some ships are positioning themselves near our communication satellites. Others are moving toward the asteroid field on the system's edge. Sareth received an incoming message from the human commander. He opened it quickly, reading Elena's words with surprise. Governance Leader Sareth. We need your help. Do your people have any mining equipment still in orbit? Any cargo haulers with magnetic grappling systems? Any vessels capable of moving large objects? Sareth quickly replied, Yes, we have 17 cargo vessels with industrial grappling systems. They are used for moving construction materials and asteroid mining operations. But they are not military craft. Elena's response came back immediately. Perfect. We need them positioned in specific locations. My tactical officer will send you coordinates. Trust us, Governance Leader. We know what we are doing. Sareth gave the orders. Calthani civilian ships began moving to the positions the humans specified. The Vorith fleet watched with apparent amusement, interpreting the movements as desperate attempts at defense by an inferior force. Asterisk. On the Dominator's Pride, Zarek studied the tactical displays with growing confidence. The human ships were positioned in scattered groups with no clear defensive strategy. Some were near the planet's orbital infrastructure. Others had moved toward the asteroid belt. A few remained near the edge of the system, as if preparing to flee. They have no idea what they are doing, Zarek announced to his officers. They are separating their forces and dividing their firepower. When we attack, we will destroy them in groups. They are making this easier than I expected, Supreme Commander, Culver said hesitantly. Perhaps they are attempting some kind of unconventional strategy. Humans are known for unpredictable behavior. Zarek waved away the concern. Unpredictable desperation is still desperation. All ships, attack formation. We will eliminate the human vessels first, and proceed with the planetary conquest. Show no mercy. The Vorith fleet moved forward, 60 warships advancing in perfect military formation. Their shields glowed with power. Their weapon systems charged to full capacity. They had crushed 17 civilizations before this one. The humans would be no different. Elena watched the Vorith fleet approach on her tactical display. Her fingers drummed lightly on her command chair as she calculated distances and timing. They are maintaining standard assault formation, Marcus reported. Estimated weapon range in 4 minutes, perfect. All ships hold position. Wait for my signal. The minutes crawled by like hours. The Vorith fleet advanced steadily, their massive vessels dwarfing the smaller human ships. On Calthani Prime, billions of Calthani watched the orbital battle displays, holding their loved ones close and praying to ancient deities they had almost forgotten. 3 minutes to weapon range. Marcus announced. Elena stood up from her command chair, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. She had spent years studying military history, from ancient Earth battles to modern space engagements. One lesson appeared again and again throughout human warfare. Size and power did not guarantee victory. Creativity and adaptation often defeated superior forces. 2 minutes to weapon range. All ships prepare for Protocol Gamma 7 execution, Alana said calmly into the fleet communication channel. Remember your training. Move fast and do not stop moving. 1 minute to weapon range. Elena watched the Vorith fleet enter the invisible boundary she had established in her mind. The enemy ships were now perfectly positioned exactly where she wanted them. Execute Protocol Gamma 7. Now, what happened next would be discussed in military academies across the galaxy for generations to come. The human ships suddenly activated engines at maximum power, accelerating in patterns that seemed random but were actually precisely calculated. Ships near the asteroid belt fired grappling cables at massive space rocks, using magnetic locks to secure them. Then, using the asteroids as anchors, they spun in wild arcs that multiplied their velocity through angular momentum. The Kelthani cargo vessels activated their industrial grappling systems, creating magnetic field lines between strategic positions. The human ships used these fields like slingshots, bouncing their trajectories in directions that were mathematically impossible for conventional maneuvering. Vorath fleet opened fire, but the humans were no longer where their targeting computers predicted. Laser beams cut through empty space. Missile volleys chased targets that had already moved to completely different positions. The humans were not fighting like any military force the Vorath had encountered. They were fighting like chaos itself had taken physical form. A human ship called the Pioneer came screaming out of the asteroid field at impossible velocity, dragging a massive rock behind it on magnetic cables. As Vorath ships turned to target it, the Pioneer released the asteroid and fired retro thrusters. The massive space rock continued forward at tremendous speed, slamming into a Vorath cruiser's shields with the force of a kinetic weapon. The shields collapsed under the impact, and the cruiser's hull crumpled like paper. What are they doing? Zarak roared at his tactical officers. They are using asteroids as weapons? That is not possible. The calculations alone would require impossibly complex mathematics. His officers had no answers. The humans had turned the entire battlefield into a chaotic maze of moving obstacles and unpredictable attacks. Another human ship, the Frontier Spirit, used Kelthani magnetic field lines to execute a maneuver that defied conventional physics. It bounced between 3 different field lines in rapid succession, building velocity with each bounce, then released all that energy in a concentrated weapon burst that pierced through another Vorath ship's shields. The humans were not trying to match the Vorath in conventional warfare. They were rewriting the rules of engagement completely. They used the environment as a weapon, turning asteroids, magnetic fields, and orbital debris into tools of destruction. They moved in patterns that were unpredictable because they were based on split-second adaptations rather than predetermined formations. Elena coordinated the chaos from the Defiance Bridge, her mind processing information at incredible speed. She had grown up on Earth, where survival meant constantly adapting to changing conditions. She had trained in environments where one mistake meant death. This battle was no different from 1,000 challenges humanity had already overcome. Group 3, swing wide and use the debris field for cover. Group 5, execute slingshot maneuver Alpha. Group 2, prepare for close-range engagement on my mark. Her orders flowed like music, each command perfectly timed to exploit openings in the Vorath formation. The human ships moved like a school of fish evading predators, each vessel independent, yet part of a greater coordinated effort. On the Dominator's Pride, Zarak watched his fleet being systematically dismantled by forces that should have been inferior. 7 Vorath ships were destroyed. 12 more were damaged and withdrawing. The humans had not lost a single vessel. It was impossible. It was humiliating. All ships concentrate fire on the human command vessel, Zarak ordered desperately. If we kill their leader, the rest will fall into chaos. 20 Vorath warships turned their weapons toward the Defiant. Elena saw the targeting solutions forming and smiled grimly. Marcus, execute maneuver Delta. All ships provide covering fire. The Defiant suddenly accelerated directly toward the Vorath fleet, a move so aggressive and reckless that it caught everyone by surprise. As enemy weapons fired, the Defiant spun on its axis while maintaining forward velocity. The human ship became a rotating target that was nearly impossible to hit accurately. Weapons fire passed above, below, and around the vessel, but nothing made direct contact. At the same time, the other human ships opened fire from multiple directions. forcing the Vorath vessels to choose between defending themselves or maintaining their attack on the Defiant. In the confusion, 3 more Vorath ships took critical damage. Elena brought the Defiant within dangerously close range of the Dominator's Pride, so close that the Vorath flagship could not effectively target her without hitting their own nearby vessels. She opened a communication channel directly to Zarak. "Commander Zarak, this is your final warning. Withdraw your fleet from this system immediately. The Kelthani people are under human protection. If you continue this attack, we will destroy every ship you have." Zarak stared at the human commander on his screen. Her ship was surrounded by his fleet, outnumbered and outgunned, yet she spoke with absolute confidence. For the first time in his military career, Zarak felt something he had not experienced in decades: fear. "You cannot defeat us," he said, but his voice lacked conviction. "We have more ships, better weapons, superior technology." Elena's smile was cold and hard. "You have all those things, Commander, but we have something more important. We have survived on a world that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. We learned to adapt, to improvise, to never surrender no matter how bad the odds looked. You chose to attack peaceful people who called for help. That was your mistake. Because now you face something you have never encountered before. You face humans who are angry." Another Vorath ship exploded in the background, struck by a coordinated attack from 3 human vessels, working in perfect synchronization. The Vorath fleet was in complete disarray, their formations broken, their tactical doctrine useless against opponents who refused to fight by any known rules. Zarak looked at his tactical display. He had started with 60 ships. Now only 43 remained combat capable. The humans still had all 23 vessels operational. If the battle continued, he would lose everything. The Vorath Empire did not tolerate commanders who lost entire fleets in pointless battles. "All Vorath vessels, withdraw from the system," Zarak ordered, his voice heavy with defeat. "Set course for Empire space." The Vorath fleet began retreating, their ships limping away from Kelthani Prime with damaged hulls and broken pride. The humans did not pursue. They held their positions, weapons still active, making sure the enemy actually left. On Kelthani Prime, the population erupted in celebration. Crystal towers rang with bells of joy. People poured into the streets, embracing strangers and weeping with relief. Their world had been saved by the mysterious Deathworlders from the Outer Rim. Sareth stood on his observation platform, watching the human ships maintain their protective positions around his world. Tears ran down his silver face. The humans had asked for nothing, risked everything, and delivered a miracle. Elena received Sareth's message a few minutes later. "Commander Reeves, how can we ever thank you? You have saved our entire civilization. What payment do you require for your service?" Elena thought about all the species in the galaxy who had refused to help. She thought about the Kelthani calling desperately for aid and being ignored by everyone except the humans. She thought about what it meant to be part of a community, to help those who needed help simply because it was right. "Governance leader Sareth, we require no payment. Help us spread a message across the galaxy. Tell everyone what happened here today. Tell them that when peaceful people call for help, humans will answer. Tell them that the Deathworlders from Earth believe in protecting those who cannot protect themselves. And tell them that anyone who threatens innocent civilizations will face humanity's fire and steel. The message spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. The story of the Battle of Kelthani Prime became legend. Advanced civilizations who had refused to help now sent embarrassed apologies. The Galactic Defense Alliance faced questions about their failure to defend member worlds. Trade agreements were rewritten. Defense treaties were reconsidered. And in human space, on colonies scattered across the Outer Rim, people heard the story and felt pride. They came from a death world. They were aggressive and unpredictable. They were everything civilized species feared. But when peaceful people called for help and everyone else turned away, humanity had answered with fire and steel and unwavering courage. The Deathworlders had proven what they truly were. Not monsters to be feared, but protectors to be respected. The galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. Asterisk.